It is not enough to talk about mental health. The work is only half done, even when actions are taken. Mindfully with Tunmise, the podcast is putting her mouth where her money is. This November, join us at a Fight for Life as we bring support, awareness, and hope to people who need it the most. Here at Mindfully with Tunmise, we believe that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. So join this crucial fight for life, an event dedicated to raising awareness about men's health and preventing the silent epidemic of suicide. November 23, 2024 at the Rembrandt Hotel, Ikeja. Follow Mindfully with Tunmise for details about registration. Hello, mindful partners, and good morning again. I'm back with Bodala. And anytime I'm with Bodala, it's we Brodola, or is it Brodola or Bodala?
Well, it's supposed to be Brodola, like the Yoruba pronunciation of
Broda. Yeah.
but it has become the village pronunciation of Broda, which is Boda.
That's fine. That's fine. And of course, you for those who listening to the last episode, we talked about emotions and feelings. We have just scratched the surface, because it's we're going to have a longer conversation around that. But we thought that as we continue this campaign for November the 23rd, the Fight for Life 2024, an event that Mindfully with Tunmise is putting together for men, we thought that it is expedient and imperative for us to actually talk about Movember and how we came about it. All right, for those who don't know and what Movember is and why we're quite passionate about men's mental health generally, but for this particular event is for men's mental health. Welcome to Mindful with Tunmise, the podcast. I am not alone today. I have Ola Akin-Dawodu.
Thank you very much. That sounds really great. Just sounded as if you were hailing the president of the United States of Africa.
You're proud. You're too proud. All right. I remember when I came up with this Movember thing and I asked, do you know what Movember is? And you're like, Movember? And I'm like, yeah, Movember. So I'll first of all give a huge shout out to my friend. And he's also been on this podcast. And we've been friends since we were, 12, 13? We went to common secondary school back together. And for about 4 years or 5 years now, every November he would grow a mustache. And I would ask him, what's this about? And he'll say, oh, the whole of November, brave men. It's a movement that brave men grow the mustaches for the whole month of November to raise awareness for prostate health. But most importantly, suicide prevention. All right, of course, for the last 4 years, I'm not sure I was not even in the headspace to think about it, but I thought, oh, cool. The day to Europe, we can maybe sometime we'll be able to do it here. So Movember became something for me at the beginning of this year, or maybe say towards the end of last year, when I began to have conversations with men and boys, and having some conversations with my son, who's 13 this year, and he would say things that would really make me slow down and think. And one of them that he said was, Ola, I've told you this before, and I've said it severally on the show also, was that he said that so he was giving me an account of what happened in class he's in a boarding school, and then a girl was pushing and was really being offensive towards a boy in this class, and everybody was shouting, "Don't touch her! She's a girl! Don't touch her! She's a girl!" But it was obvious that she was very aggressive towards this guy. And my son, and I said, "Okay, so why are you so upset?" And he said, "No, that I don't have a problem with all the girl empowerment thing and all of that. But what the thing is, everybody is teaching the girl child how to fight, but who is teaching the boy child how not to start the war?" And I'm like, "Okay, not to start the war. What do you mean by that?" And he said, "Yeah, it's naturally a man can protect, can fight, and all of that. Nobody's giving us tools on how to not start the war in the first place." And that really sent me to a place. And this was, I think, this was in May, and that really sent me to a place dark and dark and gray, maybe, if you would. And I've always said that if men were giving tools to be men, women will feel safe. If men were giving tools, and and not put in this societal box of being in a certain way, to connect with themselves, to be in touch with themselves, and not just have this societal thing covering them, men then will be men. So, and I thought, okay, so how do we start? I thought that this year for Mindful Literature, we're going to do, and Black Images generally, we're going to do events, mindful events, just to begin to give people tools. And I felt, and of course, that the first part of this year was very interesting for me, the surgery and all. I couldn't do that. And I felt, okay, let's start with Movember. So before I let Ola speak, I have spoken for what, how many minutes now? Movember is a global movement aimed at raising awareness for men's health issues, particularly mental health, prostate cancer, and suicide prevention. It encourages men to grow mustaches, just like I said, during the month of November, as a visible symbol of support. So my first question to you, Ola, is, when I spoke to you about Movember and you started your research, what came up for you?
Hello?
Hello, did you hear me? Yeah.
No. Sorry, please come again.
I said, when I first told you about Movember and you started your research,
Right.
what came up for you? Yeah.
Well, I found it interesting because I'd never, up till that moment, I had not heard of Movember. It sounded like you were saying November. I'm like, okay, why is she saying November? I think I said Movember. You said yes, Movember, and I immediately went to check, and I found that it was actually something that had been around uh for a while, 2003, I think.
Yes, about thereabouts. Yes.
It started thereabout in Australia. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So it means that even if we in Africa haven't um caught the bug about um how to deal with issues that have to deal with men, some people have. Okay, so what you were saying about, yeah, let's do something. It made so much sense to me because I've always for the longest time I've always struggled with why it is that, excuse me, the issues that have to do with men are not on the front burner. It's crazy that the people who make most of the decisions that have to do with life and health and being are men, and yet somehow the men are, I don't know if the word to use is ignored when it comes to this issue. And I can understand that, I can understand the you be a man, you can't be crying, you're a boy, you don't show emotions. I can understand how that would play into why we don't talk about the things that have to do with men's health.
Mm,
Really, I can understand that. But for me, it was an opportunity to say, okay, that so this is great. We can join um several hundreds of thousands of people around the world and just be able to celebrate men without having to do a lot of talking or trying
mm.
to explain, the reasons why we were doing that. Yes, it made so much sense for me when you talked about it.
Right. So I'll be honest with you, and I wanted to say I was like, okay, should I when I was thinking about November, I'm like, okay, so should when how do we start this now? Where do we get men together? And would we be asking men to grow mustaches in Nigeria? Be um would they be open to it? Is it something that Nigerian men would want to do without us having to explain so much? But because I'm a mindful coach, and most importantly, because I understand to an extent how the mind of a person who ideates with suicide works, given that I'm one of them, um, I knew that you know it will be easier to have to create a psychological safe space and
Mm,
creating a psychological safe space where there is no what's the word I'm looking for now, there is no pressure, there is no
there's no judgment.
there's no
Just
judgment, there's no
yes.
judgment. You It's creating a place where you can just be and reconnect with yourself and play as a child and just I don't know. These are the things I know relieves overwhelming thoughts and that rabbit hole thing that we do when we are anxious, that we are afraid, and especially
Mm,
in this climes like you said, even all over the world, but much more so in these climes where we have men struggling to have conversations. And to be honest, and this is not I hate gender drama, but to be
mm,
honest, even women I don't have tools to have proper conversations, all right, with
mm,
one another. But that's not even where I'd say. So
mm,
I thought that in November it matters because of the global recognition that it has. I spoke to a couple of my friends, doctor friends. I was like, "Are you sure you can be embraced in Nigeria?" I can't say, to be honest, that November, maybe after the conference, we can then get a campaign, and then we're like, okay, every November we can get men to start growing mustaches or something. But it became very, very, very important when I began to research, and I saw heartbreaking statistics
mm,
about men's mental health and suicide, and it was like silent battle, silent
mm.
battles, silent battles, and even you and I had an argument, maybe not an argument, a debate over that, the cultural um the honor thing that comes with taking your life, and it is embedded
Right.
in that Yoruba adage that you said the other day. Iku
Right.
soju esin lo. All right, and that is,
Right.
it is better to die than to be in shame. Okay, that's
Suffer
what that
shame.
means.
Yeah.
It's better to
Right.
die and these are the kinds of adages that feeds the the
Mm,
the strength. I don't know whether that is the right word, so you correct me. The strength
mm,
of or the push or the need to want to take one's life under pressure, especially for a man. I cannot provide for my
mm,
family, then it is better to die than to live in the shame. I collected some loan
mm,
and I can't pay it back. It is better to die than
mm,
to live with the shame. I
mm,
started a business and the business failed and I don't know how to get back from that. It is better to die
mm,
than to live with the shame or restarting again.
mm,
So these
mm,
kinds of adages are the ones that, condition, or subconsciously, of course, the condition us
mm.
to do these kind of things. So over to you.
Oh, right. Again, um, I'm just going to speak Nigerian because I think that Nigerians are a species.
Mm,
I think Nigerians are a species of people that um, can take things and just push it to the extreme beyond even what um, people who came about it ever thought about, right? For me, November would it's looking interesting already. So another part um of removing mustache is might be a whole lot, but
mm,
again, for us, it would be to find an angle that is dear to our hearts,
mm,
because at the end of the day, the real essence of it is to find, like you said, to create a psychological
safe
safe
space.
space.
Yeah. Mm,
Yes,
mm,
safe space for men to be able to have um, these conversations, ask these questions. You know, one of the things that you said the last time we were having the conversation was for women, also women who love their men. And I
mhm,
said, yes, we have. And I said, yeah, it's fine. We have more sisters, but it would be great to just have men not suffer from that inhibition that comes from having the gender that is usually around, that doesn't make them speak as well as they do, not having them around, but having just men who've gone probably through something like they are currently going through, or something worse. Imagine having somebody who's contemplated suicide up to the point of actually, trying to take their life, speak about what led to that. So I think that most times it's not because a man really wants to end his life. It's just
mm,
because um he doesn't believe that there's anybody who's going to understand what he's going through.
mm,
That's where I think I've come to, in terms of if I believe that this set of people, right, would believe and understand what I'm going through, I can relate with them. I can share my headspace with them,
mm,
right, and it doesn't become as heavy as it is on me. Right. I was having a conversation with a young chap. I've known this guy for, first time I met this guy was about 2013 or thereabout, but we lost contact for a long time. And then suddenly I was running through my phone and I see his, and I'm like, oh my goodness, who's the same person? And I reached out to him. I met him at a youth camp several years ago. And then we're talking, I think we talked about something that had to do with men, and he's about 22. And
mm,
he was talking about how even at that age, he doesn't share stuff with his friends. And I understand that. His point of view is, what if they can do nothing about it? What then happens to you? What then
mhm,
happens to um that relationship? Do you change how you look at them? Right? And I think those are the things that we do to ourselves, that causes us to suffer so much brokenness that we're unable to put ourselves together and go on living. I think that my belief is that while you can expect from your friends to be able to meet you at some point, you should not put a burden, right, of that
mm,
expectation on them.
mm,
And it's possible to be able to do that,
mm,
right? It's
mm,
possible to do that in such a way that you have your friends that you can have conversations, because I think that for men, I do not know about women because I am not a woman, but I think that for men, most of the help that we need comes in form of conversations, in form of, sharing thoughts and sharing ideas and just sharing the burden of what it is that we carry with somebody else. Most times, a man can come to a place where he figures out what the next thing it is for him to do. He might need a level of support, but to an extent, he knows what it is he needs to do with the right support system and with the right conversation. Right? And I think that Movember would afford us that opportunity to begin a conversation that allows men to find safe spaces where, rather than say, for example, you something bad happens to you and you're sharing with your friend, and they're one way or the other, they are shutting you down. Hey, guy, don't worry about it. Just take one more bottle. And those are the things that men say to men, that causes after a while you just like, these ones, they don't
And they
care,
go
they
back
won't
bustle.
understand. Right, they won't understand, and then you stop sharing, and then you start internalizing the things that you should let out. When you breathe in, you need to breathe out. You cannot just breathe in without breathing out. And those conversations, I believe, are ways, or nature's ways of allowing us to exhale every toxin, that we take in through stress, through, bad decisions that we've taken. The exhale, the conversations allows us to, you know, maybe not feel all that better, but much better than going in that direction of, thinking, because our thoughts would eventually push us in the direction where our emotions will sit. And if your thoughts over and over and over and over are sad, depressing thoughts, you would eventually push yourself into a place where it becomes hard, for you to see any glimmer or any line of hope, which I believe November will allow us to begin to be more mindful about, especially with men.
All right. Before we get into those scary statistics that we have both in Europe and in Nigeria, there are a couple of reels that one of them you shared. I was saying that he shared with me the other day, and because you talked about friendship now, and this particular one just rung out to me, or reached out to me. And there are two actually. I don't know if we can take both today, but this particular one, when you talk about friendship and how men, and I think also women, but for now we're talking men, how men tend to just end it at the bottom with a bottle, or let's just go out and not necessarily have conversations. And this spoke to it. Let's just hear
friendship. And if you get stuck at lower levels, it's going to be a problem for your life. The lowest level is friendship of transaction. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just incomplete. This is like, we do business together. If that's all you have, you're going to be hopelessly lonely. Above that is friendships of beauty that are based on admiration of another person. They really admire this work that you're doing. It's really, really good. And we're friends, and I just want to be around you. You're magnetic. It could be because of your physical beauty, your sense of humor, your intelligence, or your success. But if that beauty goes away, so does the friendship. The friendship that actually brings satisfaction is called the friendship of virtue. It's cosmically, beautifully useless, is one in which you have the greatest amount of knowledge for each other because you're truly interested in each other. You're truly known because you want to truly know, and vice versa.
And it's not like, oh, you're going to help me advance in my career. It's like you're loving them for them, and they're loving you for you.
Aristotle believed that friendship was the ultimate secret to the happiest life.
Do you agree with that? Aristotle believed that friendship was the absolute secret to a healthier, a happier life.
I don't know why you asked me that question. You know my stance on friendship.
Nevertheless, all right. The reason, and the reason why this particular reel stuck out to me was because we know that, just as we said in the last episode on emotions and feelings, you and I know that the work of there's great work to get to that level of virtue, friendship of virtue. But how many people have the tool? Not that I don't want a friendship of virtue, but how many people do have a tool to have a friendship of virtue? And most of us are on those lower levels. Let us not even lie. And I'm not a man, so I'm not speaking into that. You can correct me. You definitely can correct me on this. How many men, though, have gotten to that point or know how to identify friendships of virtue, or is only transactional, or beauty, where you can advance, I just like this person, and then we talk mentorship and all of that. So is as a man, talk to me now. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of men talking on Mindful Tunmise or leading up to Movember, but of course, you are the first man I'm going to speak with. So how easy in your interaction with men, because I know you had you had a program back in July where you put you wanted to have, you were given a coaching session, I think an hour, or was it group coaching, to men who were willing to come to a safe place. And you and I know how that went. Right? How easy is it for a man to step out of that lowest level of transactional friendship to beauty and virtue? Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sorry to have put you on the spot, and I'm going to have to ask every man that comes on the show that question, and I'll play this reel over and over and over again, because it's so. It's not just men.
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't. But this, for me, this is it. I tell you the story of what has been happening for me. I think since the end of last year up till now, is my decision to be even more intentional with my friendships. Right? It's me reaching out to a few people who I can say that I assume that we were friends, and reaching out to them and say, okay, so what exactly is the value of this friendship to you? What does this friendship mean to you? Right? Rather than carry that burden of thinking that I have a friend or I have a friendship with this person, right? And I think sometimes those things are what we do that moves us from just levels of transaction, right? I see you when I see you, that kind of level of friendship, to a place where even if you don't see this person in a bit, there is a depth. There's a depth to that friendship that that you can call on what's it called? You can call on that account, or
you can withdraw from that account.
Exactly, you can withdraw from that account of that friendship at any single point. It's not something that and most times people think it's because you've known these people for years. Well, yes, I agree, because that allows you to have, shared very many experiences with them. But I've also heard of, and I've experienced myself, of meeting people in a very short time, and then you become
just connect,
really fast friends. Yeah. So whatever it is that happens that causes us to connect with people, I think those things are what makes that higher level of friendship, the level of virtue. I think that's what makes it really important. If you surround yourself with people who all you do is just have conversations around the green bottle, or is it the brown bottle? I don't know the color of the bottle.
You don't drink at all.
or the green plastic with a hose. You know what I'm talking about. If that's all you do, right? Then the depth of the conversations you have, the depth of the conversations will be most likely dependent on the quality of the friendship.
Right.
Because your conversations usually will not go beyond that thing that you share.
Okay. Okay.
I don't
So
think it would. I don't think it
mm,
would.
okay. So we. I don't know how we're going to run this, but we'll run it. It says about 10 minutes, but we'll run it. So
Right.
let's look at the statistics for a bit, and they're
Mm,
quite scary. And or I wish I could play that one from Fury Ray right now, but it's going to just take some
mm,
time. It says globally,
right.
men are almost 3 times more likely to die by suicide than women. According to the World Health
Mm,
Organization, nearly 800 people die by suicide every year, and about 75% of
mm,
suicides occur in low and middle income countries. Male suicide
mm,
rates are highest in Eastern Europe, where cultural stigma surrounding men expressing vulnerability may contribute to high rates. Hey, Nigeria, hey, Africa, yeah.
mm,
Right? And then around mental health disorders, it says approximately 1 in 8 men will experience depression at some point in their lives, and I think everybody would. Many men, however, are less likely to seek help due to stigma, which further increases the risk to suicide. And in Nigeria, that's what we're coming to. In Nigeria, mental health services are severely underfunded, with only 10% of those needing mental health care actually receiving it. And suicide is currently a
mm.
criminal offense in Nigeria, further discouraging men from seeking help. Did you know that? Did you know suicide was a criminal offense here? Did you know that? I knew that. I knew that, but did you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I came across it when there was a conversation in the mental health space about
Mm,
criminalizing um suicide,
mm.
which makes it okay. So don't let me go into that because we will get to talk about Nigeria,
Yes,
and I don't think
yes,
that's the
we're going to
purpose
have
of
to
that
talk
this
about
morning.
it, and this is what we are aiming to demystify at a Fight for Life on November 23, 2024 at the Rembrandt Hall in Ikeja. We are hoping to demystify and allow men. I believe that if we start with men, and this has nothing to do with patriarchy or the world order or men own the world or who rules the world. No. But I believe, though, that if men are giving these tools, then women can be safer and feel safer. Because, and I'm going to get a
Mm,
little bit personal, I don't need to ask anybody for
mm,
permission to do this, but I'm going to get a little personal. When I remember the first time, I've always, for those who know a little bit of my story, I'm a victor. I'm not a victim in any way. All of what was done to me was done to me and for me, to be honest. And I can't, and
mm,
both male and female molested me, not just male, both male and
mm,
female. And I remember when one of my therapists was asking me, Moji, you've met her, she's been on this show. When she was asking me to, psychotherapy is crazy, by the way, it's very painful. But but when she was asking me to describe my first invasion, that's what I call it, my first invasion, and what I feel towards the person. I still know the person's name. And I said, to be honest, all that was going through my head was, doesn't this Egbon know that this is wrong? And I was just 6. And that has
mm,
evolved with all of my, with as I grew, that and I think I know that what was going through my head as young as 6 was I was asking myself that what could be going through the mind of Bodalagbaja for him to think that
mm,
the proof of his masculinity is to take something, to assert himself. That's the question in my head, as young as that. And with
mm,
every other person who molested me, and it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. And like I said, a female.
mm,
The question, so I think the female, in the power of sovereignty, the female who was among this list of offenders was put there to make me understand that it can go either way, right? But the
mm,
the question that is in my head, or that was in my head, and is still in my head, rarely, is if this man was properly modeled to, if this 18-year-old was properly modeled to, I am not saying what he did is right. Please, nobody should, take this part of the conversation and then say that Tunmise is this and it's a Stockholm syndrome and blah, blah, blah. It is anything but, because I've seen this person and I've had a conversation with them and all of that over the years. And I'm 45 now, it happened when I was 6. Now, so the question in my head is and will always be, and anytime I hear this report, which almost always triggers me, is what is going through their head? Why is this happening? Why are they thinking that the way to assert their masculinity is to take where they have not, is in my head is like, okay, am I saying that yes, because the rule the world they can take anything, right? So yeah, if anybody's asking me why I'm championing this, because I want that question answered, and I really want to give gifts of good men to the world. All right, Ola.
Yeah, you're right. It's the same vicious cycle that continues. Fathers are not raised well, so they find it hard to raise their sons well. Of course, the sons are not properly mentored and raised and fathered, so there is little value, little quality values that they have to pass on to their own sons. That's just the reality of what it is, and it's not just in the area of sexual offenses alone. It's what it is in terms of you're not properly you've not been properly equipped with the values that help you to make the best decisions, right? Especially when our values contribute to how we make decisions, and if you don't have sets of quality values, that form part of your belief system about what should be and what shouldn't be, the result is the society at large suffers from it.
Yeah,
that's the truth. That's the truth. And maybe conversation. I'm believing strongly. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I know that these things are not going to disappear overnight. I am not on that kind of illusion, because they have taken us time to get to where we are. But I believe that if we kind of begin to strengthen our core, right, by encouraging men to seek help where they need to seek help, have conversations where they need to have conversations, begin to reflect better, and then build a stronger value system, a stronger belief system, mindset that is not defeatist, right, in any way, right? Maybe then we will begin to be able to reach into a future, the kind of future that we really want.
All right, as we round this off, what should we be expecting on November 23, 2004 at the Rembrandt Hotel? You are going to be there, sure, even if it's for us to do our joy.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yes. So part of what I'm looking forward to, I can't even say anything. Tunmise says she's looking forward to the microphone. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
To the conversations,
my work when it has to come to do with men is helping men to speak right, because I believe strongly that how we speak influences how we do, and that's a lot, right? Because the abundance of our heart is what we speak, right? So if we know how you speak and we can help you to change how you speak, which means that we're helping you change how you think, right? I believe, that we can begin to advance the cause for a changed society, because that's where it starts. It doesn't start at the National Assembly.
So you were saying that it doesn't start with the. Yes, is that what you're saying?
Yes, I've seen that it doesn't start with National Assembly. It doesn't start at the presidency. We don't begin to want to change things at those levels unless we come back to not even the family, right? Which they say is the smallest part of the society.
Mm.
But you come back to the individual and help them reframe or rewire or re-engineer the way they do things. Help them to have a set of values that will push the society in the direction that we long for it to be. Help them have a more positive belief system, a more positive mindset. That's where I believe that these things start from, not at the stage, not at the extent, not at the stage where things or mindsets have already been formed, right? And then we want to do I don't know what I want to do with those kind of things.
All right, like what I am looking forward to are a lot of things actually. I would even like one of them is the psychiatrist or the psychologist that we're hoping to come speak with men. I'm also looking forward to the one-on-one coaching that the conversations with birth. I'm mostly looking forward to the bonding and networking that might come up from this, and even mentorship, because already from the registration we've had so far, we have a lot. I will shock you. We have so far we have a lot of 40-year-olds, 40 to 45, 30. We have a lot of 30 to 45 actually, who have registered. So I'm looking forward to the conversation, and that tells me something that, if we can create this psychological safe space. I'm throwing that out constantly, because when you listen to reels or you watch reels or you go on TikTok and all that, or you read mini and micro blogs on both on X, on Threads, or even on Facebook, and even LinkedIn, what you're hearing is that we're not when the society is not giving room, not giving an environment, a space where men can have a permission to feel, have a permission to express what the emotions they're experiencing are. You see, I'm learning. Can you see I'm learning? Emotions, I was.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
You heard it. You heard it.
I can tell.
Please, give me my plan. I'm learning.
Yay!
Trying to express their emotions that is coming up for them, and express it appropriately. And that will lead me to the second reel. I'm not sure you even remember you sent this one to me, but because it's me that is working. So, but this particular one also was a man speaking, and I think I posted yesterday using it to promote a fight for life, and this was really very close to my heart.
Frustrations, to say you're angry. When you share your feelings, to say you're sensitive. When you cry, to say you're weak. So to be accepted, you must pretend. Society has made it so impossible to be authentic, yet they scream, be yourself. You live in a world that admires the fake, encourages the lies, and punishes the truth.
And that is what I'm looking forward to, a place where we can have open, encouraged open conversations. Okay, that is what I'm looking out for the most. This really broke my heart because it is true. I remember one of the fights I had with my dad, and he was shocked. He was telling my son, "Don't cry, you're a boy. A boy doesn't cry." And I didn't even let it go down. My son was about 2, 3 at that point. I said, "No, you won't do that to my child." You can tell him how to channel the cry
His emotion.
or
Yes,
his emotion,
yes.
but
Right.
please
Yes.
don't tell my child not to cry. Please don't tell my child not to cry. And he looked at me. I said, yes, sir. Don't tell my child not to cry. And I'm just glad. And maybe my son is one of the reasons. Is my son and my brothers and my husband, of course, are the reasons why I just champion men. All right. So before we close this, what would you say? Men who are coming. Okay, so your first. Okay, I know you don't want to do it, but for the sake of the women who are listening to this, what will be your message to them regarding Movember and a fight for life?
The message is simple, right? All men are scum. That's what women say, right? Right. So you're going to marry one. Your father is one. Your brothers, some of this come, right? You want to make a difference, right? Begin by championing with us the cause to ensure that men are
Stop being
much
scum.
better than that. Yeah, they are. Right,
Right.
because every time we try to have this conversation of you cannot generalize, they come back and say something that so it's fine. Just it means that every man that's around you is calm. But I'm not sure that's what you want to continue to live with. I'm sure you want to continue. I'm sure you want to move from where you are to a place where men around you are a safe space for you. You no longer see a man and you're afraid that you'll be raped, you'll be abused, or you'll be one thing or the other. So join with us, partner with us, and ensure that the message that we are pushing out in terms of a fight for life, and this is the fight for the life of the man or the boy child. This is the fight to save the coming generation from the toxicity that already plagues our world right now. Is to lend your voice, as a woman, lend your voice, be a Mo sister, be a Mo sister, and partner with us to ensure that the narrative that currently is not what continues to be. Yeah, I think that's my short message for the sisters.
And for the brothers?
Brothers, we have a lot of work to do. I can't even lie. Because you men will wait until the last minute, until you get to the tipping point. And when I say tipping point, I mean the tipping point, before you begin to look for help. This is help that you can help yourself, right? If you keep waiting for a miracle to happen, sometimes these things that happen to come into our awareness are the miracles we need to take hold of. So as a man, please lend yourself that opportunity, that gift, right? And just grab it by the I was going to say grab it by the balls, but let me be nice and say grab it by the horns. Grab it by the horns and do yourself a good by register for yourself, register for your brothers, register for any man in your life that you believe in. You want to see them become better, and then join us on November the 23rd for a fantastic time.
Fantastic, I can assure you. I'm so excited. No, you might not see me, but I'm excited I'll be there. That's right. You might not see me physically, but I'll be there. All right, just
you
joking.
can tell.
You guys tell, yeah. So so we're saying that this November we are rounding off Movember with this event, this day retreat for men. You're gonna have fun, you're gonna play, you're gonna meditate, you're going to have conversations, you're going to have psychologists and psychiatrists around speaking with you. And the aim of this campaign is not just to highlight November as men's mental health month, just like June is, but is one of its focus is to reiterate that men's mental health matters all year round. But this month is an opportunity to bring attention to a particular It's a particular issue that demands more understanding, compassion, and of course, action. All right. Go on or find us on social media. Mindfully with Tunmise. You can find Ola at I am Ola Akin on all platforms. X, Threads, TikTok is getting so used to TikTok now. And
I'm trying.
you're more than trying. I'm on TikTok also with Tunmise Okuku, but Mindfully with Tunmise is where you would find the details of a fight for life. This is a fight for life, or because a fight for a man's life to be better is a fight for humanity, whether we want to accept it or not. And you can come at me at that, and that's fine. I can take it. But let's fight for the life of men in our lives. And when we're fighting for women, come March next year, I hope you'll be there to fight for and with us. Don't forget to share, follow, like wherever it is you're listening to, and leave us a text if you will, just by the description link. Love yourself, love your neighbor, love your nation. Above all of this, love God. He is the essence of your being. Until next episode, please stay curious and take care of yourself.